Good morning. Apologize for being a few minutes late. Of course, teachers were in my office. I'm going to wait just one more minute to make sure I let everybody in, and then we'll get started. Which, with this audience, it's a pretty small audience, which is good. It means don't have pitchforks and torches coming after me today. So let me just check to make sure there's nobody else waiting to come in, and then I'll get started. So first of all, welcome. Yes, I am as tired as I look, even with the extra day off, because it's been long. It's been a tough year. We all know that. Staying in cohorts. Those of you, just imagine how long just living with people, how hard it is, and now they're not getting a break from being with the same kids all year. So of course, it's harder. The good news is every day we're hearing a little better from the CDC. I heard as of last night, vaccinated grandparents can now hug their grandchildren. It's kind of sounds monumental, inconsequential, but it is monumental that we're getting further along. So I take that as a positive. Again, we've been trying to get as many things back to normal as possible. The number of students who are online is decreasing weekly. Sixth grade is still down to one child. Seventh grade, which is our largest, continues to shrink every week. We had two come back last week. Two eighth graders came back last week. We just got an email from a seventh grader, another one who's coming back this week. So the students, because a lot of it has been related to their family getting vaccinated, and with seniors or health impaired parents at home, and those with health impaired children, of course, still have to stay home for the child's safety. So that's a very, very positive thing that we're getting more kids back. And I'm going to talk about the technology end of this in a second. Clubs started, which the kids seem to be loving, even though they've been a little bit sporadic. We have them, but we also had committed, and I like it, to orchestra performing for different groups. So some weeks, some clubs haven't been meeting, or some grades haven't been meeting with clubs due to that. But it's been actually the clubs are a lot of fun. I got my quiz bowl club back, so I enjoy that, and I know the kids. I know eighth grade origami seems to be one of the greatest clubs with Ms. Codewise. So that's been very, very positive. Sports, we've started practices through PE. We met with two of the private schools, Dawson and Adelson, last week. And we're trying to create maybe a couple of track meets, tennis matches, and volleyball seems to be something that we'll be having a season. We're also going to hopefully have baseball and offer softball. If we have enough young ladies who want to play softball, we definitely have enough boys who want to play baseball. We'll see if we can even get some games. So for them, so all those sports will be starting up or have started up through PE already. Those of you who have sixth graders, you'll be getting a form to sign this week, and March 19th, Friday, March 19th, will be the health talk they missed from last year. Last I want to say is, when I grew up in New York City, they had this commercial that used to come on. It used to try to scare people. I think it used to come on. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children? I see Mrs. Allison Ferrami shaking her head because she's in New York City, and so she knows that we used to have that commercial. And I think I want to come up with a new one that doesn't have a time and says, "Do you know what your children are doing?" It's whatever time. Do you know what your children are doing online? And I have to tell you that it's not getting better. It's actually getting worse. And it's everything. I don't know how many of you saw in the newspaper that there was just a sting here in Las Vegas where 13 people were arrested all for child pornography issues online, and not just posting pictures. We're talking about trying to lure children onto things. Uh, that's the one that is when I say the easiest one, the one that we probably wind up talking to our kids the most, and probably uh, while not a good thing, something that is our kids are pretty decent about. Most of them are smart about. It's their own activity online. So right now, those of you, I don't know how many of you have heard of Discord. It's kind of a gamers app. It's something that the vast majority of our middle school and a lot of high school kids use. In fact, last year I wanted to somewhat disable it on campus, and the upper school asked us not to because they were using it for some of the things in school for clubs and things. This year they, because to be honest, it's pretty uncontrolled. So the kids who are in Discord, so we have right now, and again, it's a band-aid on a problem. It's not solving the problem, but they cannot access Discord from the school's server. Does that mean they can't access Discord? No, they can, because they go on their phones. They go, off server, and they hook up hotspots to their phones, and they go to this. I read pages and pages of Discord. To be honest, if I could prove who they were, children would be suspended. It was that vulgar, sexist, racist comments that are on there. And this isn't like just a bunch of people. This is our kids. It was 100% our kids. So this isn't. So I'm urging parents to again. I know it's such a hard thing. I'm a parent too, and now that I'm actually officially a parent of two adults, as my baby turned 21 last month. It's a little different, but I know when they were in middle school and high school, the internet was here, and I know it's a trust thing with our children. And it's like, you don't trust me if you look at their stuff online, their online things. But I have to tell you, it's because of not having the outlet of as many sports, and because of not having, the clubs. And, our kids used to be here till 5 o'clock every day, and now they're out of here at 3:15, 3:30. So that time is getting filled up with other things. And for a lot of the kids, it's online. And again, I'm not anti-gaming in its place. It doesn't replace homework. And as I've said to parents many times, my TV was my gaming growing up. So we come home and want to watch TV and not, do our homework either. So it's not, but the difference was the TV, our parents, we couldn't hide the TV. We had a big 25-inch. I couldn't put it in my pocket. But everything is secret. We actually have found kids now hiding in bathrooms to play video games during classes. So next year, we're going to go back to the phone rule of having them in their lockers. And those parents, by the way, did appreciate everybody's feedback. And at least at this time, do not worry. Do not make your children hysterical. We are not doing away with lockers. But but it's really rough what's on, and it's amazing to me. Not amazing because I'm not the technology wizard either. But parents find stuff and they tell their kids, well, you have to get rid of this. You have to do it. A lot of people change their name, and these names, and so it's not even that they just change their name. And by the way, when I said I couldn't identify the kids, boys or kids who are doing it, is because the names and those of you who know me know I'm not a prude. If I repeated half the names, I'd be blushing. That's how crude the names were that the kids are using for themselves. So all I can do is tell parents, we're in this together, and we're going to do our best to monitor it in school. But we have to, I think, do it as a community together, because the things that are out there, I'm not saying that a 12-year-old will not ever be given for their actions online. But these things go out there, and those of us who watch anybody now running for offices or being appointed to offices or trying to become a Supreme Court nominee. I mean, I haven't seen anything brought up about that 12-year-old, but I have seen already college things for people in their 50s and 60s being brought up at their hearings. So these are things that, and I think what worries me is it's not a lack of maturity as much as it is their way of life, and they have no monitor. As we've done a great job, I think you've done a great job as parents. When it comes out of their mouth, it's very easy to teach them. Not easy, but it's much easier to address as parents. Well, we don't say that in public, or we don't. But since we don't see the things that they're saying online as much as we hear it from their mouths, we tend not to either think it's happening or not to address it. And I have to tell you that I'm not trying to sound alarm bells or anything else, but we've had this year already, we've had to send some kids home because of what they've done online, and it really, again, worries me what is going to happen in that direction. With all that said, we have great kids, and I can't wait. I think that idle hands, idle minds cause a lot of this, and we need to find as many outlets as we can on campus, and I know you do that at home for our kids. And so every time we get the ability to take another step forward, we're going to take that step forward. Of course, safety and following guidelines. I went to one of our seventh grade. Well, Mr. Trujillo's son was in a hockey championship this weekend, so he invited me. I went to watch it. That was good. The bad news was that City National Arena had no rules for how many people were allowed in the stands. So there was definitely more than 75% in the arena there. But the bottom line is those things are going on. The kids are playing, and we have to find avenues. And I just think in the next couple of weeks, more and more and more things will open up for our kids to do, and we need to get them active in those things. Looking forward to next year, I don't have any really monumental announcements to make. We're looking at changing how we again do our advisory program. We want to we want to give the teachers, most of the teachers, a more defined role in creating the relationships with the kids, but creating them through academics. So in other words, having the teachers be, having time to check in with the kids on a more frequent basis for shorter periods of time, just to say, hey, for eighth graders, do you have your homework? For sixth graders, do you have your pants? You got to keep everything in perspective with the age groups. So it's just trying to make sure that everybody starts the day, and as often as we can, as organized as possible. Again, our goal is to have school next year as normal as possible. Whether these things will be on our faces or not, I can't answer that right now. The thing I can tell you is that all but two people in my building, in this middle school building, are vaccinated, all faculty members and staff members. One chose not to yet because she still has antibodies. She had tested because she was positive earlier in the year. And the second has just right now has a medical condition that her doctor has advised her just to wait a few more weeks to be vaccinated. Otherwise, every faculty member in this building and staff member has had their 2 vaccines. So that's very positive for us. As I just had a conversation with our headmaster this morning, and he said, we got to rely on the vaccines, and if vaccines don't work well, we may never be back in school. And I'm not trying to be funny, but, God forbid that happens. But right now, all the research is telling us, and we're trying to do this funny thing and being in school and follow the science, not the politics, because the politics are are all over the place, but science is what's going to lead us as a school out of this. Again, going into next year, just looking at the way we do it a little differently, trying to get we're going to go back to our 2:30 sports program. So we'll start sports at the end of the day. The days may change a little bit. By that is somebody's not muted. Let me see if I can figure out who's not muted. Mrs. Roxars, thank you. And what I mean by that is it was Fridays previously that we didn't have PE. What I'm trying to do is line it up with the day that we have full dress, as not all of our students can get to the locker room, so that way we won't have full dress and PE on the same day. But some of the things that are coming forward and having kids in the middle, that some of you have younger or older, is we're trying to streamline things from K through 12. Miss Kennedy, is much more open to things, and so we've sat down together with all four division directors, sat down together, and while it's still not going to be exactly the same, we've tried to streamline the uniform a little bit. So, there's no more, it's not going to be any more from middle school to upper school, middle school kids there's just some examples though, could only wear the white button down, and upper school could wear white or blue. We don't care anymore. Middle school could wear white or blue. And I think that even the colors of the polo were different for elementary school and middle school. I think, and everybody hated the blue on blue because, you don't dress your second grade boy in white because it very quickly becomes black. So we've kind of streamlined all that, and they could wear things in each division. So there's just a few differences between divisions. Where like the jumper is still only going to be for lower school girls. I don't think my middle school girls or upper school girls really want to wear a jumper. And we're still leaving the blazer now for just upper school. Those are just some of the variants, but pretty much it's all going to be the same. The same thing is where at least at this moment intending to have one full dress day. It used to be Monday for this division, Friday for this division. Now it's going to be whatever day is going to be the same for the entire school, pre-K through 12. The same thing with the Spirit Day will be same pre-K through 12. So we're trying to work on those things together. And we're also trying to set in some time during the week for our teachers and faculty to have their regular meeting times. So they can be, prepared and have grade levels be able to meet differently. And so again, that's where most of our planning has gone. I think there's, at least in my building, I can only speak for, there's just a want to return to what we had the year before, which seemed to work really well schedule-wise, and return to what we consider to be normalcy, or as close to normal as possible. We're all just yearning for that in our lives, and that's all I really have to report. Can I take questions from people? Just unmute and start yelling, and we'll let you go. Anybody? It can't be that easy for me. Come on, Stacy. You always have something to ask me.
I did hear you don't want to be a moderator or a mediator.
Oh, yeah. We won't talk about your personal. Yes. Yeah, I'm smart. Yes, when a spouse asked me, just on an educational, it wasn't a personal, to mediate a difference between a husband and a wife, my answer was no.
Good answer.
Good answer, right? Yeah, I'm smart. I'm married too, so I know that you stay out of that. Cheryl, do you have a question? Oh, you just came back finally? I can't hear you, Cheryl. You're muted.
No, I'm sorry. My electrician was here. So I just had to run out for 5 minutes, but thank you for your time.
Stephanie, you have a
Mr.
question?
Siegel, yes, I'm sorry I missed the beginning of the meeting. Hi, great to
Hi.
see you.
Good to see everybody. I haven't got a haircut.
Is volleyball going to be, did I miss, is volleyball coming back fourth quarter?
That's the plan right now.
Okay.
Is
Right.
yes.
Okay.
So right now, the things that I'm pretty sure, again, I'm not promising anything because every day, as we know, it changes, but our plans are volleyball because the league that we are playing, which is now the charter school league, is going to have a volleyball season. So
Great.
our plan in that volleyball season, our plan is at least day school and Adelson have talked about us last week about. I'm sorry, Adelson and Dawson have talked about minimally having some tennis matches. And while we were originally going to have a cross country season, it seems that most of the schools aren't having a ton of kids. So we may switch that to try to have at least 2 or 3 very small, 2 to 3 schools tops, track meets, even if we run a couple. We're just trying to get some things in, and then baseball for the boys. And if we have enough girls who want to play softball, we'll try. Softball is a little more problematic to try to find games. Baseball, we can find some games, even if they're against some of the little leagues that want to play.
Oh, great. Okay, that's great.
So we're trying to get those all started. And as right now, because we're still not mixing our grade levels, since we're not mixing our grade levels, we're still keeping the practices during PE, which means they don't have to stay after school unless they have a game. And the only thing I do want to remind everybody is, just as with high school, you have to be in school to play sports.
Sure.
You know, and that's by the way, that's
I know.
no, I'm not picking on you. I just want everybody to know that that's a rule that, we actually, that we're going to follow the high school rules on that. And the high school, by the way, has started. I was at Friday night's football game, and there'll be another game this Friday night. Unfortunately, you probably received a letter that it's very much limiting fans to the games. So that's I think there are 2 parents per child and at home, and they're not allowing any families on the road in high school. And I know that volleyball was Miss Coach Heller was up in White Pine this weekend with her girls for a league. So it's great that our leagues are started, and that the small schools especially are still able to play and having real seasons in their conferences and everything else. The only schools right now that can't participate in our high school leagues is Laughlin, because it belongs to Clark County School District, and Clark County School District's not letting anybody right now except for Moapa Valley play other teams, or actually outside of the county, I think. So any other questions?
I did have one.
Yes, Stacy.
So at the Bridge Coffee for upper school, there was some talk about like a summer geometry review course, and maybe some other review courses. And I was wondering who would be the best. I didn't see it on the summer catalog, the whatever they've turned summer camp catalog courses into. So do you know who the best person would be to find out on scheduling when that is and how to?
Either Mr. Orman is kind of taking the lead on the camp, but I would the easiest person would be Mr. Volin,
Okay.
the upper school department chair of the math. Yes, I know that's happening, but I don't have any details, or I'd give that to you. One of the things I wanted to say is, at least for the rising 7th and rising 8th, so this year is 6th and 7th, we are planning at this point to take our September trips. I have to play around with the dates for the 8th grade a little bit because it happens to also be Rosh Hashanah, so I have to figure that out. But I'm probably going to be reaching out to you in early or mid-April, and I know it's hard. You guys know what I know. But not that I have to have money because we don't charge you for it. But I know I've already worded the form that say, knowing what we know now, will you allow your child to go? And just because, first of all, I don't like to waste school money. And to be honest, we have to commit by June 1st for the 8th grade for next year, but that would be to Washington, D.C. And then the 7th grade is to Pally Adventures. So I won't be asking you, I'm not going to make you sign your name away. It's just that because I know things change, they change over the summer, but we just want to make sure that we have a critical mass of 8th graders that parents will be comfortable having them travel to Washington, D.C. Again, knowing what we'll know by June 1st. And the same thing for the Pally Adventures, even though, usually we would have had to pay for these trips by now for the next year, but knowing what's going on in the world and they want us to travel, the group that will be taking us to Washington, D.C., is made a June 1st deadline, and Pally Adventures isn't even asking for deposits yet because they don't know even if they're going to be able by California rules to open up this summer. And they're a summer camp also, so they're waiting to let us know whether or not they'll even have the ability to exist. Somebody muted me. Somebody said the host muted me. That was funny. I know that New York State just has approved summer camps opening for this coming summer. So my friend who owns the camp was very happy to release that news. So hopefully some of California will do the same. Any other questions that are out there? Going once, going twice. Could be the shortest coffee in my history. I will promise there'll be longer when we're back next year in person. I do want one other thing is very soon. It's what I call it. Those of you in the film business know. I think they call it in the can. So the talent show is in the can. I'll give Amaya Ravago some credit. This young lady, who's a 7th grader, has been the editor and everything else. They asked for one more week. It was actually supposed to be out the 15th. They asked for one more week just because they want to enhance it more. There's so many acts. I think it's close to 2 hours long right now. There are actually so many things that the kids submitted afterwards. They're making a second one already. They're also going to take the best of, and we're going to send it to the Senior Citizen Center across the street, since we used to go there and perform. So we're going to send it to them to give them some things, hopefully, to enjoy. So again, we're trying to get these activities and get, they want to do it. So the kids want to get these outlets. They want to. And so, the more we can keep opening up and doing, the better off we are. So with that said, then, anybody have any questions or anything, please don't hesitate. Call me, email me, send me threatening emails. I'm used to that. I'm just kidding. And I'm glad you knew I was smart, Stacy, and stayed out of that. And again, I look forward to seeing all of you, not just driving by me in carpool, but live, because I'm not going out there next year in carpool. I'll hopefully be coaching sports at that time. But again, don't hesitate to call me, and I look forward to seeing everybody very soon. Have a great day.